But the libs have outdone themselves this time with a campaign called Man Enough from Creatives for Harris, a collective of advertising executives, writers, and self-proclaimed comedians who support the vice president in her attempt to become the one cackle to rule them all. The problem for Kamala Harris right now is that American men find her campaign more off-putting than a Hillary Clinton fans page. So to combat what they believe is an overpowering bro energy behind Trump, the standing ovations at UFC fights or endorsements from influencers like Logan Paul, they've created a video that claims acting like an effeminate dumbass is the manliest thing you can do.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I can believe that guy's not afraid of women, but they are definitely afraid of him. Let's see where this goes.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
Thank you, Jiffy Lube Santa, but there is not a man or woman on earth who saw this video and thought, masculine. They thought, wow, look at this bunch of dudes who belong on an episode of Takedown with Chris Hansen.
For there's a man inside me, and only when he's finally out can I walk free.
And by the way, this has the polar opposite effect of what these people want to do. This is the equivalent of Tom Steyer dancing with Juvenile to back that thing up in the hopes of drumming up black votes in South Carolina. Unsurprisingly, Steyer dropped out of the race just a few hours later. But let's see more of this manly video, which is to laughs what Joker 2 is to ticket sales.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
I genuinely cannot believe that this wasn't a full-scale parody. Is there a stereotype about men that we don't know what type of donut we like? They're like fucking donuts. Even when they're bad, they're good. I didn't even get that one.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I mean, that guy clearly knows what type of donuts he likes. The answer is all of them.
I ate the whole plate.
We'll get to more Ben After Dark in a moment. First, as social unrest escalates and crime rates climb, securing the safety of our families is more crucial than ever. I'm about as pro-Second Amendment as it gets, but the thought of using lethal force is not ideal for everyone. That's why you need to check out Byrna. Listen, I care about protecting my family, but honestly, if you shoot somebody accidentally, or if you don't know how to use your gun properly, or if you do know how to use your gun properly and you make a mistake, it is a real problem. Introducing the Byrna Ungun, the non-lethal self-defense platform. Lightweight, simple to use, it uses an easy-to-load 5-round magazine. It's powered by an 8-gram CO2 cartridge. Byrna launchers fire a 68 caliber chemical-filled projectile using patented pull-pierce technology, where the CO2 canister is only punctured on the first trigger pull, meaning your launcher is always at the ready. It's capable of incapacitating an attacker for over 30 minutes. It's accurate and effective at over 60 feet. No permits, no background checks. It's interstate travel friendly. With Byrna, you will be prepared to defend. The Byrna is a safer, more sensible alternative that can potentially save lives on both sides, protecting both the user and the aggressor. Thank you to Byrna for sponsoring this video. To learn more about Byrna, check out this week's full episode of Ben After Dark on Daily Wire Plus. Keep in mind, this sketch is reacting to the fact that Kamala is drastically behind, struggling to connect with men, especially in the Midwest. So, the same woman who looked at those polls and responded by appearing on a podcast called Call Her Daddy has supporters making videos that only rival early George Michael videos for fakest heterosexuality.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
You would think that this might have ended with some sort of wink to camera, like an obvious sign of satire, right? They wouldn't just end this thing with more AI-generated quotes about being a man who supports women, would they?
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Listen, it's easy to make fun of that abhorrent attempt at pandering to a non-existent voter looking to agree with emasculated dudes. But the truth is, it's actually kind of dangerous. Here's the party who spent a decade telling us that men can be women and women can be men. And yet here we are, reinforcing gender stereotypes. Like, why can't a woman also be a really, really fat dude who eats carburetors? Remember, this is also the anti-weird party. So they trotted out actors playing variously, an obese mechanic, a strange muscular fellow chatting to camera while in his garage gym, and a farmer who clearly visits truck stops in his spare time. But just for the Slim Jims, if you know what I mean. Listen, my dudes, you don't need to support Kamala Harris to prove you're a man. And if you do, you've got bigger problems than the election, like erectile dysfunction. Well, speaking of dudes who are gay but pretended they weren't for years, it's time for Diddy Watch 2024. This past week, Diddy once again lost a bid for bail, meaning he will most likely remain behind bars until his trial date set for May 2025. Good luck, Diddy. That's a lot of time for you to commit suicide by beating yourself to death with a brick from behind. This was probably very disheartening news for the rapper, but nothing could prepare him for the shock and disappointment he'd experience because of another decision, this time from LA later in the week.
Breaking news!
It appears the famed celebrity photo wall at Hollywood's Mel's Drive-In has had every picture of Diddy removed from the display. The gallery-style exhibit of frames, proudly boasting images of stars that have dined there over the years, did have 2 pictures of Diddy in clear view. Now both have disappeared. Gone. Never to be seen again. Just like actress Ellen Page. In a statement to TMZ, the manager of the iconic West Coast diner said, quote, "We've been following everything in the news about Diddy, and it's not okay." And just like that, the manager of a Mel's Drive-In succinctly condemned the actions of Sean Combs, something Hollywood elites can't seem to do for some reason.
The Diddy scandal. Have you ever heard of anything such?
No.
No? Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times.
Have a good night.
Have you been to his parties? What do you make of that situation? All right. No comment from Clive Davis.
I wonder why they're so scared to say anything. Do they own stock in baby oil? Oh, maybe that's why. Lawyer Tony Busby, who's currently working with 120 possible plaintiffs claiming that Combs sexually assaulted them in some manner, says the Diddy celeb pals are staying silent because they're in the process of settling or being encouraged to settle with victims behind closed doors so their names stay out of the news. Again, 120 accusers. To put that into perspective, there were only 100 Smurfs that lived in Smurf Village. The scale of this criminal activity has not yet been exposed, but if you ask me, nothing has been Smurfy in P. Diddy Village for quite some time. Which we learned more about on Tuesday when new documents were released detailing a 2015 physical assault Diddy allegedly committed against his son's UCLA football coaching staff and a team intern because he was angry with how his son was being disciplined on the squad. He was not ultimately charged with the crime from the incident, but he was praised for being more effective at stopping the rush than the entire Carolina Panthers front line. Will Diddy continue to supply us with more breaking news as we slowly creep to the Creeps trial? Probably. And you can bet that Ben After Dark will be there if any of the restaurants that service patty melts decide to cut ties with the former music mogul, because we are journalists.